Hello, everybody. Welcome back to ND Ice. I'm your host, David Trinka, alongside Lincoln Retzloff. And in today's episode, we will be going over UND's most recent road series at Duluth this last weekend. At the time of recording this, it is February 10th, 2026. And unfortunately, we are without Ian Iverson. Love the energy there, Lincoln. That was superb. Anyway. Let's do some weekend recaps. Lincoln, what'd you do this weekend?
Not a whole lot. Friday night, ended up on a party bus, but had to leave a little early. I didn't get to watch the Friday night hockey game, which is kind of unfortunate, or at least most of it.
Hey,
But Sa- but
we didn't.
Saturday I was able to. What did I even do Saturday? Oh, we went to the new shout out to
Yeah.
Short and Tall in Grand Forks. Check that out.
Mm-hmm.
Which is really cool. So yeah, I went there and then we watched the. What did we watch the
Came
game there?
back.
Yeah, we
We
came
came
back,
back to
watched.
save
Yeah,
money, and then we went back to not save
yeah,
money.
yeah.
For the vibes. We
So
went back for the vibes.
yeah, we caught the second half of the game at Short and Tall, which is really fun, and then went downtown. So it was a pretty good weekend. That was a great establishment, good food, good
Did we go
drinks. So
downtown after?
yeah, we went to like one or two places, I think.
How did we get down there?
I don't know. Someone drove us.
Oh, that's right. Did we Uber down there? Did we actually go? I can't remember now.
I don't really remember either. I think we went, but
I don't think. Yeah. How did you get home? How did we get? I don't remember, dude. And I didn't get blackout drunk. I don't want people to think I got blackout drunk or something. Did we actually? Did we all go? Did I go?
mm-hmm.
Damn, I don't remember that. Anyway, yeah. So I guess for me, yeah, like you said, didn't do much on Friday. I did get a chance to watch the game though, and we'll go over that in a little bit here. Watched a lot of hockey honestly on Friday. I caught the um me. Yeah, it would have been Michigan State, right? They played on, yeah, they did. They played on Friday. And then I watched UND's game versus Duluth. I watched parts of the Gopher Ohio State game. And then I also caught parts of the other NCHC games around the league. So like Miami Western and I don't remember who else is playing who, but St. Cloud, I caught part of the St. Cloud game, I think. And then who was Denver playing? They play this weekend? No, maybe
I
they didn't. I don't
I
remember.
don't remember.
Anyway, doesn't not that important, but yeah. And then Saturday went to Short and Tall, and that was pretty nice vibes. Food was pretty good. I didn't have any food there, but the food that I did like have like a bite of, like try from other people was pretty good. So if you haven't been there, I would suggest going and checking it out. They got pizza. I think it's New Haven style pizza, and then they have like a bar and bar food stuff like that. And then they obviously have their own homemade craft beers, right? Is that what you'd call them?
Yeah, from Surly.
Yeah. So that was good. And then yeah, we came back for a drink, and then we went back for a couple of drinks and watched the rest of the UND hockey game. I think did we go back after the second period or something like that? Watch
Mm-hmm.
the third there. We went back with like 5 minutes left in the second because we missed Cole Reshny's injury. We didn't see him go down. At least I didn't see him go down, but yeah, and then Sunday obviously watched the Super Bowl and I went to the ODR by myself for a couple hours. Um yeah, I didn't do a whole lot on Sunday, but yeah, just back in the nitty-gritty of the work week now. So yeah, we'll get into let's go to recap of Duluth here quick since we're on the topic. Lincoln, I would say there wasn't a better game for you to miss, honestly. If you had to miss one this year, they played terribly for the first two periods. UND was playing fine in the goal in net. Like Jan was playing good, I'd say. UND came out uh just kind of flat. They looked like they hadn't played in 2 weeks, which they hadn't played. Um, Obviously you want to see some more urgency when your guys come out right away, but Yeah, Duluth went up 2-0 in the second period. I think UND was pretty lucky to get out of the first period unscathed because UND couldn't get anything going. I mean, they had they took three penalties in the first period on Friday. And it just like they didn't overlap at all, but they were spaced out enough to where, okay, and when we're finally off the penalty kill, maybe we can get something going. And then they'd get another penalty. And then get another one after that. So it was hard to watch. The first period, not a whole lot happened. It was basically us in the box the whole time, and it prevented us from getting anything really rolling, getting any lines rolling. And then second period, relatively the same story, except for we got scored on. And then going in the third period, it was honestly, I talked to you guys about this earlier, but it was basically a mirrored game of the Friday night that they played here in Grand Forks versus Duluth because I mean, besides the score, Duluth is up 2 goals going into the third period, and then UND had one at the midway mark of this third period, and then also had one late in the third period to tie it and send it to overtime, and then Duluth won the game in overtime. So kind of funny. Looked a lot of the same, and then UND had a really big power play in that overtime, wasn't able to get it done. The goaltender for Dahlmeyer, that's right. Ethan Dahlmeyer was able to make some really huge saves. Max Plant went to the box. The guy you want in the box, honestly, if you're going into overtime against Duluth. And yeah, they made some good saves. There were some good looks. I thought UND was going to win it for a sec there. Like they had good chances in the overtime. Were able to get good shots, retain puck possession in the offensive zone on that power play. So they looked crisp, and I liked how UND answered in the third period. But obviously, if you don't play a full 60, you're not always going to get the results that you want. I think UND honestly got kind of lucky even getting a point out of that game. So uh, moving into Saturday, I should say in the Friday game, Ellis Rickwood, sorry, had a shorthanded goal with assist from Max Swanson and Abram Wiebe, and then Jack Kernan had the tying goal from Ben Sturden and Jake Livanovich. Sam Plant with 2 goals for Duluth. And then I'm not even gonna, it doesn't matter for the other ones. In game number 2 on Saturday, pretty lackluster first 2 periods, kind of a stalemate. Not much happened. A lot of shots in the first period. North Dakota had 10 and Duluth had 16. So that's a lot of shots, obviously. Facing 16. I think it was a similar story where they went to the box. Nothing, no scoring until the third period. They had Max Swanson open it up on the power play from Will Zellers and Abram Wiebe. Will Zellers on the power play a couple minutes after that. I think that was the 5-minute major, I believe. We got a 5 minutes power play. We were able to capitalize twice on it. Um, I think I said it in short and tall when we went on that power play. I was like, we're gonna score 2 right here, and then we did. And every on both of those first 2 goals in that for UND in that game were all the same players, all three. So Swanson had the goal from Zellers and Wiebe, and then Zellers had the next goal from Wiebe and Swanson. So kind of cool there. And then Zam Plant had his third goal of the weekend from Max Plant and Aaron Pionk, and then to make it 2-1. And then Dylan James finished it off the weekend with 2 goals uh, to make it 4-1. One assist from Abram Wiebe and one from Ben Strnad. Abram Wiebe won NCHC Defenseman of the Week this week because of his assists, which he had what four? I believe he had 4 assists this weekend. Yep, 4 assists. So uh, yeah, Saturday I thought it was one of those games where you're just like UND's not going to lose 2 straight. It's just not going to happen. So I felt like going into it that we knew we were going to find a way to win somehow. And we talked about it last week how UND kind of keeps running into desperate hockey teams. Duluth got their win, and then it was UND's turn. Uh, Obviously pretty close coming down into the third period, but UND able to get it done when it mattered.
Yeah, they did what they've done all year, and that's be a third period team, tire teams out, especially over the course of a
Hmm.
weekend. I was really happy with the way the just the penalty kill played, especially on Saturday, 0 for 4 against a power play like Duluth. I think that's really impressive.
Right.
To go back to the Friday game, I mean, I was happy they were able to send it to overtime. I think that's great. Obviously, you don't want to give up a goal with 6 seconds left in overtime ever. That's just lazy hockey. But then again, overtime in regular seasons played in 3-on-3. So, I mean, come tournament time, I would, if I'm putting my money somewhere, I'd say UND probably wins that in 5-on-5 because you just look at the depth of the team. And I think just a 5-on-5 format, the later the games go on, I think it really just it benefits and helps UND, and we're seeing that over the course of the year. And I kind of wonder if that's we'll see what happens with Miami this weekend. But I just the way this UND team is built is just they're
Hmm.
so deep. It's their I don't remember them having a team that's just so good in the third period to where it's like they're going to score at least 2 goals every time, and the other team is just stuck. It's almost like unless you have a 3 goal lead on UND, there's nothing you can do, or you're playing a 1 goal. I don't know. It's crazy,
Right.
but I was just really happy, and obviously you get the road win was good. And like you said, Dave, like Duluth was probably a little desperate, and the whole UND had kind of kicked the crap out of them in Amsoil the last few years, and they just barely won Friday in overtime. So I mean, I was pretty happy with the weekend, and then all things considered, too, the teams that are contending for the Penrose with UND. Western Michigan went to OT with Miami and lost. So I mean, it's not like that overtime game destroyed UND. It all kind
Mm-mm.
of worked out, and we're
Yep.
really setting up for a good stretch run here.
Right. Yeah, Denver finished the weekend. It was a weird Friday night, honestly, like you said, where we started out the night with Western dropping their overtime to Miami, like you said, and then Denver went to extras. They went to a shootout and beat Colorado College after CC was up to nothing. So you're thinking you're a UND fan watching that game, and you're like, this is a great opportunity for UND to get some more points on these other teams because obviously Western lost and only got 1 point, and then it looked like CC was going to beat Denver, and then UND we got a point out of it, which is fine. I'm okay with that. We stay even keeled with Western. We keep the same lead we had over Western, and then Denver gains a point, but we still have 2 games in hand to them. So, or they have 2 games in hand to us. So, not much difference in the Penrose Cup race after this weekend. Obviously, UND won the Saturday night, and so did Western. Denver was able to win their Saturday as well. So things are still tight in the Penrose Cup race. UND is now sits still or 2 points only ahead of Denver instead of three. And then with 2 less games played than Denver, Denver's got 40 points, and then Western's got 35 points. So UND's still 7 points ahead of Western. They need 4 regulation wins to clinch the Penrose Cup, sole possession of the Penrose Cup. If they win these next 4 games in a row in regulation, they will host the Penrose Cup in the Ralph Ingles Arena alone. And if they were to go into Western,
That's
trying to
assuming Western and Denver win out, right? Or like they continue to win. But if they like say Western gets
if
swept, how does
if
that change?
Western were to also win out, like if they were
Okay.
if we win these next 4 in regulation and Western wins all these next 4 in regulation, it doesn't matter. We still win sole
Yeah.
possession because we'll have
Hmm.
7 points over them going into that last weekend against Western. Uh, let's say we win a game in overtime and Western wins their 4. I think we still hoist the Penrose Cup in at UND, but it still has the
Hmm.
potential to be shared with Western if we go there
Right.
and they sweep us. So, um, I don't know if they'll have the presentation. I would assume that they maybe would take advantage of that if they could, because we're winning a share of it anyway, no matter what. I would assume that they're gonna hand it out to us. Uh, I don't know though. I don't know what Heather's gonna want to do.
Yeah.
So it's a good question. But anyway, rolling forward, that's what the Penrose Cup race is looking like right now. Obviously, UND is facing Miami this weekend. We'll go into that here. North Dakota enters the weekend ranked number third in the NPI and ranked number three in both the polls, USAHockey.com and USCHO.com. North Dakota 21 and 7, 13 and 5 in conference play, averaging 3.9 goals for and 2.2 goals against, which is good for fourth in the country. Their power play comes in at sixth in the nation with 28.3%. Their penalty kill is 81.1%, which is 29th in the country. And they are eighth in the nation in faceoffs with 53.7 win percentage. Miami comes into this weekend in the top 20. They rank at 20 with a record of 17, 9, and 2, and 8 and 8 and 2 in conference play. They average 3.2 goals for and 2.8 goals against. That's good for 24th in the country. Their power play is not ranked. It is 13.5%, not very good. And then their penalty kill is one spot above us, even though it's the exact same at 81.1% on the penalty kill. And they sit unranked in faceoffs with 46%. So UND has the upper hand in faceoffs almost perfectly. They get the upper hand. I don't know what you'd want to call it. 46%. We are 53.7, so you're only missing that point 0.3. Doesn't matter. Literally has nothing to do with anything. UND has more goals for, obviously, and less goals against. UND enters the series 31, 8, and 4 all time versus Miami, and they are 10 and 0 in their last 10. The last loss to Miami was coming at home on November 19th, 2022. I remember that game. That game sucked. Uh, that was a bad game, dude. Remember that game?
Honestly, no, I don't.
I remember just being like, I can't believe we just fucking lost to Miami, dude. Miami was so bad then. Uh, Obviously, should we lose to Miami this weekend at some point? No one should be thinking that. Miami's a good team this year. They've just they're honestly like a little UND this year. They've had their own just major resurgence, huge turnaround. They also turned over a lot of their roster and just have been playing really well. Have gotten a lot of key pieces to add to their squad. A lot of good producers and a solid netminder. Takeaways from this series: it's going to be a game of inches. Miami's a very gritty team, very strong. They obviously play an NCHC like game, and Miami's not going to get pushed around. Obviously, we talked about it where UND keeps running into these desperate teams, it seems like, and Miami wants to be in the tournament. They haven't sniffed the tournament in 10 years, so they want to be in. It's been a long time, and they're ready for it. Uh, Penalty discipline. Ian wrote this on here. He's not here, but he has penalty discipline. Obviously, you want to stay out of the box. UND had trouble doing that this weekend. Probably the biggest red flag from this weekend was just not being able to stay out of the box. Um, Whether or not there were some questionable calls I thought that they made on UND, and obviously some of those go both ways. I'm not here to really comment on the officiating, but UND's got to do their best to be responsible and disciplined because Miami will, I mean, any team will make you pay for it. As we said before, sweeps going into this series are going to be vital for the Penrose Cup if we want to win it at home. UND again needs to, if they want to win it at home, a sole possession, they need to win both of these games in regulation. Uh, do the best that they can to get as many points as they can. If Western were to lose one and we were to lose one, then it would still be fine. You're gonna say something there?
I will, and you're done. Yeah.
Okay. And then yeah, we already covered the 12 points. 12 you need 12 points to clinch the Penrose. Lincoln, go ahead, sir.
Yeah, just looking at Miami's last few games, this goes back to December. They've only lost in the games they've lost. They're not giving up more than 3 goals a game in the second half. They've given up more than 3 goals once, and that was to Michigan Tech, who's ranked higher than them technically. So they're this is a team that's playing really well defensively. I'd imagine, just looking at their roster and their statistics, it looks like it kind of reminds me of UND. You have a ton of scoring up and down the lineup. I bet this is just, and again, I haven't watched them in person, but if I'm guessing how Noreen's running his team, it's everybody's playing four lines deep and everyone's scoring. So I'm guessing that's why these games have been really low scoring, tight checking. It's impressive. Yeah, just looking back at their last few games, obviously 3-1 loss to Western, 3-2 win over Western, 3-1 win over St. Cloud, and 2-1 win over St. Cloud. I mean, they're not letting teams score a lot, so you kind of got to think that UND is going to have to earn every goal. And at times, and this happens every year, there's been games where UND's lost where they've outplayed teams. So I specifically think to our last regulation loss against Denver when Denver had 17 shots and UND had like 35 to 40. So that is something. If Miami wins, I could see something like that happening. But it does, just looking at how they played against Western Michigan. They're putting up shots here and there, so it's going to be an interesting game. Once we get into predictions, I think it's probably maybe going to be a bit more of a low scoring game. But my just overall thought is just UND's just got to do what they've been doing and get them into the third period and take them down, I think.
Hmm. Yeah, some players to watch for Miami. Uh, their two leading scorers are tied at 20 points. Both have the exact same goal and assist margins. I don't know how to say the first one. Is it Kocha Delic?
I'm not sure.
It's either that or I don't know. I know Mateo Giampa. He's number 91. Uh, Kocha Delic is number 13. Number 20 is David Deputy. Some people might have heard that name if they listened to any of the Brad Schloss pods. Max Helgeson came from Alaska Anchorage, transferred in, so he is. It doesn't say his year on here, but he's the best. He's not even. Who's the best defenseman for this team right now?
I think I think at least the name that's popping.
Vladislav Lukasevich.
Yeah, one of the names
Lukasevich.
that pops off to me specifically is Michael Quinn. He was on the team last year, and he's a plus 11 right now as a sophomore and has 17
Mm,
points. He probably is one of their
played
top
for Fargo.
defensemen. Yeah, he was really. I remember he was one of their guys last year, or one of their bright spots on their team last year. So,
Hmm.
um, yeah, they're getting a lot of scoring from all over.
Yeah, and then obviously backing him up is sophomore Mateo Droback, he's got a 913 right now with a 2.578 goals against. He's got 16 wins, three shutouts. So pretty good stat line there. And they have Mathis Gat. Is this? Oh, that's not who I thought it was. I don't know. He's a freshman goaltender from Quebec. I don't know, dude. They have so many either Europeans or just French Canadians on here. I don't even know how to say their names. Mathis Langevin.
Hmm.
He's played one game, has a win. I can't imagine he's going to be starting the first night, but yeah, some nice names. Miami kind of got a new face this year. Just not the prototypical Miami team you're used to seeing since we've kind of been in the NCHC. Obviously, when we were at start of the NCHC, Miami was a powerhouse at the time. I mean, they made the national championship game in 2009 and lost when they should have won, and then Frozen Four in 2010, won in 2015 NCAA tournament as a number one seed after winning the NCHC Conference Tournament Championship and lost to Providence after an almost good, huge comeback. Some people might remember that one. I think they were down 7-2 or something like that, or maybe 6-2 when they came back and made it a one goal game. Uh, Lincoln, do you remember that? You would have been maybe the fifth grade, sixth grade when that happened.
Yeah, no,
You would have
I
been the
don't
fifth
remember
grade.
that. Yeah.
Just good to see Miami back, not being absolute dumpster fire, honestly. The better teams, the more teams that are performing well in the NCHC, it obviously makes the conference better. just holding the teams to a higher standard. Omaha's kind of taken the Miami place this year. We'll see if they can bounce back. Obviously, they kind of went out of the box with building their team this year, so you'll see what happens after. If that'll change the minds of any coaches trying to build their teams with some of those youth sport players.
Yeah, that was interesting. The route Omaha went with that. And I don't know if we've mentioned him yet, but another guy. There is a player in the NCHC younger than Keaton Verhoff, and that is Ilya Murazov.
Hmm.
I think he's 2 months younger than Verhoff. He'll go in the first round, or he should go in the first round. I don't think his production's been as high lately, but nonetheless, there are going to be a lot of scouts in the building this week in the Ralph watching both him and Verhoff. So he'll be interesting to watch. He's number 18 on
Hmm.
Miami. So just another, it's a lot of young guys in the league this year. So that's another guy to pay attention to.
Who's the guy? Did they end up getting that guy who was really highly touted and then he just couldn't come in or something this year?
No, I don't think he was eligible. Yeah. Yeah, no, I 90% sure.
Because
Yeah.
he was supposed to be pretty darn good. So
Yeah.
imagine if they had even him on the team, how good they could have
Hmm.
really been. Just want to give a shout out to Miami. I mean, it takes programs a lot of time, obviously, sometimes to bounce back and play well. They kind of the respect that we've given Bryn Chiswick and everybody in company this year for doing what they did to turn this team around and with all the over turnover and how well it's kind of fit together and how well we've done. I feel like you got to give a level of respect to Miami for doing a similar thing. Obviously, they've been struggling for years and years and years now. But the amount of turnaround, I think, how much do they even have? Do they have like three guys returned from last year's roster?
Yeah, it's not a lot. It's
So,
I think pretty much the whole thing, and they
yeah.
knew that halfway through the season last year. Noreen was like, "This team is a dumpster fire," and we saw
Hmm.
that with Johnny Waldron not playing in the NCHC anymore. He's done now. He was
Yeah,
one of the
he
guys on Miami that UND fans
kicked off.
apparently wanted. So
Yeah, and did he just get kicked off the team or what? Did he just leave or what
yeah,
happened? Do you know anything about that?
there was never an official reason stated. If I had to guess, and I'm not an expert, but I've heard that that locker room is pretty toxic, and I don't know. I If guys are getting dismissed from teams, you can kind of put two and two together. And then
Yeah,
I believe he signed an ECHL contract, but
yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it just goes to show it's impressive. Like really, you're just hitting on it, Dave. But we talk about like you said what Chiz has done, but what Miami's really done in 1 year. And UND's had some success over the last few years, a little bit. But UND's just a bigger brand in general, and I think a lot of people, it's a lot easier to
Hmm.
recruit towards that. I'm sure UND has a
Right.
much better NIL
Great
package for
point.
hockey, and what Noreen's done at Miami is it's incredible. And like
Hmm.
this is not the same Miami team that's we've been used to for years. They could and potentially will steal a game this weekend. So, and I don't think obviously UND's ranked very high, number 3 in the country, and losing would suck. But a loss to Miami once again is it's not the same as it
Sky's not
once was.
falling.
No,
Yeah,
and I still think by every metric UND should sweep this team, but there are worse teams to lose to than Miami.
right. Yeah, great points. Yeah, I guess I didn't even mention, yeah, that obviously Miami has way less resources than UND does in the recruiting realm. So the fact that they've done what they've done with what they have is even more phenomenal. Uh, do you want to cover anything else in this series before we move on? I kind of want to talk about the whole Gavin Mckenna situation. We didn't really even get to talk about that at all, even last week, did we?
No,
That
because I
happened
think
after we
it
recorded.
came out
It
the
was the
day
day
after we
after.
recorded. Yeah.
Yeah. So for those of you who don't know, and it's kind of useless to even talk about now because it's all blew over so fucking quick. Sorry for my French. Uh, Gavin McKenna, it happened Wednesday afternoon. I want to say around 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. Uh, Ian actually sent us this article graphic thing. It said like Gavin McKenna facing felony level charges for assault or something like that, and I was like, that's fake. There's no way that's real because it said it was from the Saturday prior. I was like, there's no way that this wouldn't have gotten out sooner if it was real, and it turned out to be real. I looked on Twitter right after I said that, and I was like, what did I say? I should have just looked it up first before I said anything. But yeah, it ended up being real. Uh, Basically, the moral of the story is we're going to keep it quick because it's so useless now. Gavin McKenna went to a bar with what I understand was some of his family members and his teammates after the outdoor game that they played against Michigan State, and some kid was talking shit to him. I don't know exactly what was said. The parody, or not the parody, but the what do you want to call it? Like the what people
Rumor.
are thinking, the rumor. Yeah, good. There you go. The rumor was is that he was making comments about Gavin's mother, calling her a WHORE, stuff like that. Whether that's true or not, I assume something along the lines of that is true. Um, Obviously, I wasn't there, and I didn't see a recording or anything, but um, obviously he gave him two right hooks. I shouldn't say obviously. He gave him two right hooks and broke the kid's jaw. Uh, uh, Punched a tooth out too from that, and then he went to the hospital, had to get facial reconstruction surgery, and had to get his, I assume, his tooth put back in or something. So came out that yeah, he got aggravated assault or something like that, a felony charge, four different charges and felony, and his bail was posted at 20 grand or something like that. Was that right? 20 grand?
I don't know.
Uh, yeah, I'm just gonna say 20 grand. I think that's right. Um, Obviously the question was like, what's gonna happen to Gavin? Does this lower his stock? Uh, this is an off ice thing. Assault's a big deal. Is this a red flag? And then once it kind of came out, it didn't initially come out why or what happened. It kind of came out that night that he was defending his mother. That kind of became the moral of the story, and the movement was that he was sticking up for his mom, and a lot of people liked that. A lot of people came out and said that, hey, I think this is gonna just skyrocket his draft stock. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. I'm kind of a level-headed thinker. I do think that obviously shows a lot of passion, and you want to see that from some of your players. It'll protect the people that they care about, which is hopefully their teammates, um, or their family. But obviously, that usually doesn't happen on the ice. Uh, but at the same time, I guess going into it, I was kind of thinking, well, this kid is doing this shit. You got to have some sort of control over yourself, uh, especially in public. You can't just go around assaulting people because they said something you didn't like about them or your family member. You got to have some sort of self-control. I think the moral of the story is kind of that it's going to raise his stock. I don't know. I think it's a little. I don't think Gavin McKenna is a. I don't know him personally. I'm not a big fan of him. I don't know him personally. Again, I don't, he could be a really nice kid. I don't know. I don't think so. And this was kind of like the one thing sticking out that I was like, I knew that something like this would happen. This is him finally getting exposed, and now he's gonna go like maybe 10th overall. Didn't end up happening. It was all for nothing. He ended up going and I heard he went and paid the kid off basically by paying his medical bills, and then the charges were dropped 2 days later on the Friday.
Well,
So it
yeah,
literally was all for
he
nothing.
still has a preliminary hearing. They were just the felony was dropped, I believe.
Okay.
So he's still probably gonna have to pay some sort of money. But yeah, because his preliminary hearing is set for, I believe, March 11th, sometime in March. But nonetheless, he will be playing this weekend against Michigan. It was confirmed. So
Yep, today. Which I'm not surprised. I was talking to Dylan James about it, and he was like, honestly, I think it might raise his stock. And I told Dylan, I'm like, fuck, I'll go up to Keaton and talk shit, and then I'll let him break both my legs if it means he can go first overall. So you got to do what you can for the program. I don't know, maybe the whole thing was a planted story or just a plant. And it was funny how like some bottom, I don't want to call it bottom tier, but you were saying like second class student newspaper was the one that leaked the report, right?
yeah, because apparently the news organizations, and this is gonna sound bad, but I they suck. They must suck over there because I feel like you hear a lot of national stuff about um Gavin McKenna, the Penn State hockey team. But when have you ever seen an article written from someone who's from State College or that Happy Valley, that just whole area? And
Hmm.
it's that the website that broke it, there's like an official student newspaper, and that one's like a secondary student blog. And probably what happened was some person who knew someone that works for the blog saw the fight happen. So the people that were on that blog were just spamming the website, the police website all day, doing FOIA requests and whatnot. Not FOIA requests, but just spamming to see when he would
Yeah.
get arrested, not arrested or whatever happened. And then it eventually
The
popped up.
file, like the
Yeah,
charges filed, and yeah.
yeah. And I don't know. So it just kind of shows that. And I still haven't. It's kind of been crickets about. Oh, I saw Schloss tweeted out that Gavin Mckenna will play this weekend, and
Hmm.
like I said, I had seen no indication from any media out out east about what's going on. Because maybe I just need to look harder, but I just you'd think for having a generational talent, they'd cover everything a little better. I don't
Hmm.
know. That's just my opinion. And I'm not, once again, I'm not plugged into the Pennsylvania News Tribunes, whatever's out there, but just kind of a little surprised that it would be essentially like ND Ice breaking a story like that here. Like it's just
Hmm.
like that's just it's atypical. It doesn't happen a lot.
Are you surprised that he got a slap on the wrist? I mean, I kind of figured, I kind of had a feeling even after it that I was like, once I even heard one drop of like people being like, that's like fucking nails that he did that for his
Yeah,
mom. I was like, great, this is gonna go nowhere now. This is just
yeah.
gonna be
I
all like,
with obviously
I was a little surprised.
with the hearing coming up and whatnot, and I'd assume Penn State did somewhat their own investigation. But I mean, this is kind of what yeah, you kind of just have to expect this thing's gonna happen. Like it's, the when the felony I believe got dropped, no, I don't think anyone was shocked. Like, and yeah, like
I was
this,
shocked by how fast it happened. I thought it was gonna take a
yeah,
little bit longer than
none
that.
of
Holy,
everything that happened really just didn't surprise me. Yeah, and we'll see what happens.
yeah,
But I don't know. It was just weird. It's been a really weird week of news, especially from the North Dakota
yeah.
sports world. So I mean,
NDSU jumped to FBS.
yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I wish I'm not as plugged in on the law and court aspect of it. So everything I say don't take as truth or fact. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens out there. But I would just assume it's going to be business as usual for Penn State.
Yeah, definitely an interesting sequence of events this last week with Gavin McKenna and then NDSU looking for an invite and then ultimately getting it and accepting it to the Mountain West. They will now be playing football, not against us anymore, once again. So not only did we get left in 2006 or whatever it was, we got back in the game in 2008. And then we didn't join the same conference, and then we finally did, and now we're not anymore. So it was a fun 6, 7 years while it lasted, wasn't it? 6, 7. We'll get into the vent line here. Let's do. We got only four answers. Ryan Qualley said NCHC refs suck ass. That's all. Go Sue. Uh, honestly, I feel that. Uh, John Novak said worst effort in months on Friday. Good response Saturday. Hope Resh is okay. Yeah, me too. Honestly, I'll be really interested to see what comments Dane Jackson makes on that on Wednesday or tomorrow. Obviously, will you be going to that? You let us
I'll
know
be
what
there.
happens.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be probably one of the first or second things asked. From what the early reports were, it didn't sound like it was going to be a season ending anything
Yeah.
like that. I do
Hmm.
hope. I'm curious about Zmolik too, and I'm sure there's some other guys that are a little banged up also. So really going to
Right.
be interesting. You'd like to have everybody back. Come, just
S-
honestly,
Especially Cole Reshney.
yeah,
And Z was
he's
out,
unreal.
right? Z went out in the
Yep.
Saturday, so hopefully he's okay and hopefully he's not out long term either. And then Reshney has been so darn good all year. One of UNE's best players. So hopefully he's back in the lineup very soon. Professor Crisp, welcome to the vent line. Stay out of the penalty box and be more disciplined. Very, very good take there, Professor Crisp. And then Itsem 2022. Welcome back to the event line. For a negative, they said, I know we've all said this before, but stay out of the box. Positive home ice for the playoffs. Very true. Forgot to
Hmm.
mention that with UND's win on Saturday night, they clinch home ice in the NCHC quarterfinals, and I believe that's the earliest they've done that since what, 2011 maybe or something like that. What did it say? It was he lost an article on it. I don't remember what it said though. Now that I think about
Yeah,
it.
it was, yeah, something like that. I don't know. Yeah. Since they've had a good team, a really good team, I should say. So this team
Hmm.
sits up there with the best of them.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Like you said, should be an interesting weekend. It's one of those teams UND hasn't seen yet this year, so it'll be an interesting matchup to see how they. I mean, they beat Western, so you know, gonna have to see what UND can pull out. Uh, yeah, I would say just main goals or stay out of the penalty box and come out firing and keep working hard and putting away those pucks in the third period. Should we do some score predictions and then wrap this up here, Sauce?
Sure.
All right, let's see. We had UND for the goal. Let's see. Last week we did 4-1. I predicted on Friday. You predicted 4-2. Both of us are pretty wrong. You were closer to not wrong. And then you said a tie on Saturday. I said a 3-2 overtime win. So neither of us were right pretty much. We kind of had the days flopped for the most part, but this weekend I don't even really want to do this. Just doesn't work out usually. Let's just do it anyway. I will just copy and paste the one from last week, and then you can just throw in what you want on
I'll
the day
just
you want.
go. Oh man. I I'm gonna go 4-2 again Friday UND, and then Saturday, man. Let's go 3-1 UND. Keep her low scoring. Because Miami's not giving up a lot right now. Go 4-2. I'm gonna say that's gonna be an empty netter Friday. 3-1 outright Saturday. I just Miami's power play not being that good, I think, really helps UND a lot. I will say though, UND did shut down Duluth's power play well Saturday. So I mean, truly, I think you just got to be playing right on the PK.
Hmm.
So I don't
Yeah.
know, man. It's gonna be interesting. I'm excited. It's exciting to be able to watch a series that's watch Miami be competitive. It's cool.
Hmm. For sure. Yeah, for Friday, I'm gonna say a 3-2 overtime win for North Dakota.
It's a good one.
And then a 3-1 win on Saturday. I just think UND's been playing a more complete game on Saturdays for the most part. Lately,
Hmm.
it seems like anyway. And then Friday, I don't know. I think Miami's gonna come in hungry, and I think they're gonna catch UND a little flat-footed in the first or second period, and then UND will ultimately come home with the win. Hopefully, I hope, but
Yeah.
obviously, go either way. And then I'm gonna roll with the idea that UNE doesn't get more than I guess I could have put four for one of them, but I'm gonna go roll with the idea that UNE doesn't get more than three. Miami doesn't let in more than three goals. I think that's a solid average, letting in three.
Hmm.
So yeah, UND. We were both picking a sweep, but I'm doing a 5-point sweep instead of a 6-point sweep. So um, yeah, 5 points on the weekend for UND. Hopefully it happens. So.
Yeah, Miami's gonna be hungry because these are the games you win against UND. This really can project them forward into a bubble like a bubble spot, if not into the NCAA tournament. And they're fighting for home ice in the NCHC too. So this is
Mhm.
we talk about it. You're always running into hungry teams, and yeah, maybe that's just the nature of the NCHC. But man, they're gonna be oh man, they're gonna work like that. It's gonna be
Mhm.
a this might be one of the toughest weekends of the year for UND because
Mhm.
Miami. Yeah, Miami's they're they're beating everyone. It's impressive. So,
Yeah, these next 3 weeks are going to be interesting. I'd say honestly, the least desperate team we're going to play the rest of the way through here is Western. Miami's on the
hmm
past the bubble, like they're 20th, but if they this is the weekend where they can really get into a swing, like you said, of make getting on the bubble or right just outside of it. And then where does St. Cloud State sit? Are they 20 something, 21st maybe?
they're
19th. So they're
yeah.
they're they're a little bit further in than Miami. They're also going to be really hungry, dude, especially coming in. Everyone loves to beat North Dakota in North Dakota. So
Yeah,
tough lay of land for North Dakota right
really,
now.
really tough for UND, man. Because that St. Cloud, Miami's fighting for home ice against. Is it against St. Cloud or my? No, yeah, yeah. With my
And
math might
that's
be a
their
little.
last weekend of the year, dude. That's St. Cloud's
Yeah,
last. We're gonna get fucking swept.
there's just this is who plays Western this weekend? Is that Arizona State? Arizona. This is in Western, so. I mean, Arizona. If you're a UND fan, Arizona State, their season's done.
Mhm.
I think it's
Pretty
pretty safe to
much.
say that. But who knows? Arizona State's a team they'll win a game here and there because they're still a really well built program. They've got great players.
Tired of Greg Powers bitching at him, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Every night.
So one more thing I want to hit on. This is not NCHC related, but just how bad Boston University is. Like
Yeah.
they're they're not good. Um, and
I
I
told my
see.
buddy,
Go
told my
ahead.
buddy Dave, like I'm like, I'm so sorry you have to deal with this. But this is like what I had to deal with last year, and you got to go to the national championship, so it's whatever.
hmm Yeah, I don't. Sometimes I see stuff their fans say online, and it's really weird because they're all like, "We just gotta." This is what BU fans are saying. They're like, "We just gotta keep our guys, and we'll be good next year." And I'm like, "Well, yeah, I'm sure you'll be good next year, but
I wouldn't want to keep these guys.
half your team's gonna sign, and
Yeah.
who are their upperclassmen? Owen McLaughlin, like, dude, come on, like, he doesn't even play anymore. Um,
Yeah,
so
I I
they're a team that's yeah, I'm sure they got some locker room ego
they got
issues too.
issues, bro.
Yeah. Like Pandolfo, I think literally said, I gotta find the quote, but he said something along the lines of he just like he can't even reach the team. Like they don't even not reach the team, but they're just it doesn't matter what he says at this point. It's like they're just it's like
Yeah.
yeah. And so and I think as we've this has happened enough years in a row now where it's like the whole we have this many picks, we have all these first round. It's
Doesn't
like, dude, that
fucking
literally
matter.
does not matter anymore. Like that,
Hmm.
like yeah, it's cool. I think especially from a UND perspective, we like having first rounders because it helps build our team up, and those guys do add value. But an entire team full of first rounders who are
You can't, yeah.
barely legal like that, you're not gonna win a national championship like that.
It's not about the it's not about the amount of picks you have. It's about who the guys are and how they're going to gel together as a team. It's about
Mm-hmm.
the team, not the players. There are
Exactly.
been a lot of teams out there that have had really good years and don't have a lot of draft picks on their team. I don't know how many draft picks the Quinnipiac team had on in 2023. They were just a well-oiled machine that could just kick your ass. They would
Yeah.
outplay you and play you till you were tired or your coach decided you guys wanted to ice the puck the rest of the game.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, obviously Minnesota had a lot of draft picks that year. Boston College had an unbelievable team the year after that. Michigan, even the year prior to the Quinnipiac one, had an unbelievable team that they played. I had four top five picks in the one NHL draft, and they lost to Denver in the national semifinal. It just doesn't matter. Your draft picks
Mm-hmm.
doesn't matter. It's nothing
Yep.
to do with anything. It's flash, no cash.
Yep. Yeah, I also think too, just with how things go back and forth these days, I think the years of teams like the UNDs and maybe I'm wrong, but the years of teams making the national tournament for 10 to 15 years straight, I think those are done.
Hmm.
I don't know. Everyone is so good now. Like I'm just relooking. You brought up Quinnipiac, but just looking at their roster this year, man, they're getting scoring from everywhere. They got Ethan Wittenbach. He's insane. He could win. He might be a Hobie. He probably will be a Hobie hat trick guy with Plant and insert
He
someone
is
else. But
incredible. He's a
yeah,
freshman. He's insane.
yeah, that's man. He is 47
I mean,
points.
I will
That's
say the only thing to knock him is that he's playing, you could argue, against not the best opponents night in and night out.
mm-hmm.
It's the only thing you can knock him on. But
Yeah.
incredible though. He's plus 18, a freshman with 19 goals, bro. 28 assists. That's just incredible.
Mm-hmm.
47 points already. That's unreal.
Yeah, I mean, you look at some of these teams that are hovering in the MPI. Like, I'm still kind of. I thought Dartmouth was gonna. They started off really good, but I was like,
Yeah.
eh.
I feel like
They're
they're gonna
hanging
fall
on.
off a little bit more, yeah.
They should, but they're at 7 right now. I mean, that's a pretty comfortable spot. I mean, just
Yeah.
not saying they have to run the table here on out, but assuming they win most of their games, in the ECAC, I mean, they're.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how it's. They're yeah. But yeah, there's oh yeah. Look, this is Dartmouth. This is Dartmouth's rest of their season. Yale awful, Brown terrible, RPI awful. Union's they're not in the tournament right now, but they're an okay team. And then they got QPAC, who's
They
good.
have,
That'll be a really good matchup. And then
they have Tyler
Princeton. So
Dunbar. Union has
yeah,
Tyler
Tyler
Dunbar,
Dunbar. He's
former
insane. He's got like
UND commit.
I think he's got 27 points right now. Last I checked, I might be a little off. He's exploded. I've never seen a
Yeah.
defenseman do that before. Yeah, he's got 27 points. That 11 goals is a oh man, that's crazy. Good for him
Mm-hmm.
though.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, other things going on this week. The Olympics obviously started last week. The opening ceremony was last Friday. Women's hockey got opened up last week. I want to say like Tuesday or Wednesday, even before the opening ceremony. USA, at the time of recording this, just played Canada earlier today, and I believe when I was watching, they were beating the wheels off of Canada for rip.
I
So
think they beat him 5-0. Yeah.
yeah, so time is now, I guess, for United States. I will say Canada has a weaker team for the women's than they have usually. They've lost some veteran people ladies that have been around for their gold medal dynasties. And then obviously they were with I shouldn't say obviously. They were without the Canadian women's hockey GOAT, which is Marie-Philippe Poulin. So BU alum. And yeah, she's day to day. So USA able to capitalize off of that. Obviously, they got Bismarck native, Bismarck Blizzard alum. Believe she went to Bismarck Century. Either that or she went to it would be St. Mary's High School. They have a Bismarck St. Mary's, right? High school. They have the
Yeah.
college and the high school, don't they?
Yeah.
I believe she went there and won the dynasty. And then she's insane. She was when I checked like a couple weeks ago the leading scorer in the PWHL. Not by much, but she's incredible on USA. So if you get a chance to watch them, cheer on Britta Curl. Incredible. And then the United States, this first game is on Thursday, which will be the day that this gets uploaded. So if you're listening to this well, let's see, what are we like an hour into the episode almost? So if you're listening to this right when it comes out and you've made it to this point, it'd be around 7 a.m. So you got about 6 hours or I think it starts at like 2 o'clock. It's kind of
Yeah.
shit. Is it 1 or 2? What time is
It's
it at?
2:10, I
1,
think.
2:10? Okay.
It could be a worse time, but I'll take I'll take that,
Well, you'll
whatever.
take that. You don't have to work, so
Exactly.
it sucks for I don't want to be caught watching, but I'm gonna watch anyway. I'm gonna try anyway. So I believe they opened up against who, the Swiss or something like that? Or is it
Sounds right.
Latvia?
Hmm.
USA's. group is kind of fraudulent. I'm not gonna lie. I think it's us, Swiss, Germany. Oh, I don't know. That doesn't sound as fraudulent as it made me as I looked. Let me check real quick. Uh, Ice hockey at the 2026 Olympic Games. Here we go. Group play. Preliminary rounds. Okay. So Group A is Canada, Czechia, Switzerland, and France. Group B is Finland, Sweden, Slovakia, Italy. And then Group C is United States, Germany, Latvia, and Denmark, bro.
Yeah.
We're in the most fraudulent group there is. Germany's got some good players, but I
Yeah.
mean, not compared to
Dreisaitl.
like Finland and Sweden being in the same group or Canada and Czechia and Switzerland. That's a hard group.
Yeah.
Canada, Czechia, Swiss. That's a really good group right there. But yeah, so that'll start on Thursday for United States. I believe the first game for men's is maybe tomorrow, the Wednesday. So it'll have been yesterday if you're listening to this on Thursday. Um, yeah, should be a lot of fun games. Canada and United States won't have an opportunity to play each other until later on, until the knockout rounds. So should be good. Should be good hockey coming down the stretch as we're currently in the Olympic break for NHL. There's no games for another couple weeks. You got another week or two. I want to say maybe 2 weeks before there's any NHL games coming back on. So if you're United American, hopefully you're cheering on the United States. If you're Canadian, you can cheer on Canada. I'm not gonna do it, but you can sure as hell do it if it tickles your fancy. But wherever you are, make sure to enjoy the hockey, UND hockey, whatever it is. You got any closing messages, Lincoln, for the fans? They're looking to you for advice, for words of
Nothing.
inspiration.
Nothing comes to mind. Just pack the pack the Ralph this weekend and pack the Betty. UND basketball versus
Oh
NBC.
yeah, yeah,
So.
I'll be there. Yeah, I actually that's the first time I've ever bought tickets. Was I this weekend I bought them, so we're going.
Hmm.
I always got to go for free when I worked for the games, but
and and start donating your millions to UND so they can slowly start building up the fund to jump to the FBS in the next
yes,
years.
yes, great take there, Lincoln. I can't believe I forgot. If you happen to be one of the thousands and thousands of UND alumni that have $1 million, please consider donating some of that money to the UND, so
Hmm.
we can go FBS and beat the Bison and stuff. So, yeah, enjoy the hockey. If you're a returner, thanks for returning and listening to us. We appreciate it, you being here every week. Leave a comment if you'd like, what you'd like to hear, what you don't want to hear. And then also, if you are new here, welcome. We appreciate you listening. But with that being said, enjoy your weekend.